Louisiana faces significant challenges, especially from extreme weather events and food insecurity. The state is prone to hurricanes and tropical storms that cause severe damage to infrastructure and habitats, often resulting in power outages, flooding, and the displacement of residents. These storms can also destroy crops and livestock, disrupting food production and supply chains. Many residents already experience economic instability, which is worsened by natural disasters, leading to greater dependence on food assistance. In many communities, particularly rural or underserved areas, access to fresh, healthy food is limited. This situation creates food deserts where residents rely on unhealthy options that negatively affect health and nutrition. Contaminated waterways from industrial pollution and storm runoff harm local fisheries, affecting food sources for communities. Health advisories restrict the consumption of certain fish species, further limiting food options.
I am Rashetta Ozan. I am the founder, director, and CEO of the Vessel Project of Louisiana. In my community in Southwest Louisiana, there are several injustices that we're facing here, and they're all intersectional. But what's at the root of the problem is the racial injustices that we face living in a southern state. The cards have been stacked against us for so long, and now we're trying to unstack that deck to get to the bottom of the issue. We are surrounded by petrochemical and LNG facilities, which is causing pollution, which is causing complete communities to suffer with things like cancer and asthma, but these things aren't being documented. And in those same communities, they don't even have hospitals and clinics to even go be treated for those issues. We have issues when it deals to social justice, because for so long, these people have been fighting for their community, but when they get to places like the city council meetings or the police jury meetings, they are shunned, they're laughed at, they're not welcome to come to these meetings and talk about the issues at hand. It's caused a lot of poverty, a lot of sickness. People have lost their homes, families have been broken up, people have moved away from the area, crime has increased, and we know that all of those things go together. It's almost impossible for one person to take on all of those things, but what I try to do is highlight all of the things that are going on here and bring more people in the movement so that we can untangle that web. This is the community.
Right here?
Yes, sir.
This used to be a golf course back here.
But see, all of this, you see how it's raised up? Because all kind of stuff is buried under it, and they covered it with grass and dirt.
They got oil and gas, what now?
Under the property. Remember we was talking about the Cahoochie back there?
Right.
This is the pumping station.
Pumping station for it.
Mm-hmm.
The waterway is right downstairs.
Go ahead. Yeah, the water back. What's protected by the fence line?
Their house, some people that decided not to sell their house, they one lone house right next to this.
This is what in front of us.
That's English Bayou.
This
is the pump.
This is the pumping station. That's the bayou right here. This is one of the estuaries where, if you've heard us say all the time, you can't eat but 2 pounds of fish. These are some of the places we're showing you where people would come and fish.
The Louisiana Department of Health and Environmental Quality has issued several fishing advisories due to the unacceptable levels of chemical contamination found in fish in their state. These contaminants include metals like mercury and lead, as well as dioxin and forever chemicals, or PFAS, which pose health risks from long-term frequent consumption. These advisories serve as a guideline on safe consumption levels of fish to help protect public health from the risks of eating contaminated fish over an extended period of time. Those most vulnerable are children, women who are pregnant or breastfeeding, along with communities who rely on fishing for trade or tourism.
So all of this used to be homes.
This is the land
All this
where
used to be homes?
I was born
Yep.
and raised on this land.
Which way you want me to go, left or right?
To the left. My ancestors owned all 80 acres. They owned 80 acres of land, okay? All this was my ancestors' property here.
Over here?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. And if you take that land from
You see where you can see where there was lots with houses.
No, I'm looking and I see it. You can tell sections of...
Our community. They destroyed this whole community.
I haven't seen that in the grocery store.
No, there's none over here.
There used to be old Kroger.
They used to have a Kroger right here. They shut it down. You saw the other Kroger that they shut down.
People right here died from cancer from the spill.
Here?
1983, there was 11,700 gallons of perchloroethylene from a faulty valve coming out of PPG, spilled in this people community and destroyed these people land and everything.
You did the
and
right
it's
thing.
an incomplete cleanup.
Get it right.
Incomplete cleanup of the chemicals. And the people is very ill still and all kinds of contamination.
A lot of people have argued, you don't live next to the industry. You don't live next to the plant. You're not affected. The plant, yes, is across the bridge, but people over here are feeling the impact. I don't know if y'all been counting how many houses is being condemned over here.
I've seen
A whole community.
I've seen, I would say maybe 70% of these houses over here.
A
you can't live in.
whole community.
Can't live, no.
And then by tearing these
That's
houses
my brother's
down,
home right here, y'all.
they
right
are
here.
probably
Where?
releasing
Right here, this
blue
her brother was
or the gray
the
one?
blue one.
The blue one?
The asbestos in his own too. You didn't even know. Right here, 2709.
So that was your brother's house?
Brother's home.
Wow.
Asbestos. No wonder he's suffering with his
That's
lung.
why I said
He's
the asbestos, when they tear them.
These piles of debris sitting here,
Right.
the chemicals are still there
Yes.
festering because what's happening? How is methane made? When we talk about methane pollution, doesn't it come from rotted trees and plants and carcasses? So you got all of those different chemicals in the air over here where you do have people that are still living here.
So they built the school right next to this canal.
Where it's
That's
contaminated.
Yeah.
And them kids was trapped in that school when it flooded. This is a man-made disaster that's happening with this flooding because of how they have
They made the aqueduct.
the way they've done it.
Canals.
And these folks have to deal with that every time.
Wow.
Like you've had people have, look at these houses. Now that house wasn't that old,
Right, you can tell. You can tell that's a newer structure.
but this is what they dealing with. Area is also a depiction of how white flight happened, because this area, especially in Oak Park, used to have more white people who lived in the area. But when they brought the railroad track through and they started doing that with the canals, the white folks moved further south and further north. Now when we talk about North Lake Charles and talk about the Gosport area, that's not North Lake Charles.
Okay.
Where the wealthier, whiter people moved to an area called Moss Bluff is an unincorporated area of Lake Charles. It's still considered Lake Charles. They don't have a mayor, they don't have a police department, they don't have a chief of police. But this is where the wealthier, whiter people went and built up this area with big, nice homes. And they have all the luxuries that you need for a city, several banks, hospital, all of these things, where you skip a whole portion of a city that doesn't have it. So it goes from South Lake Charles to Moss Bluff, but you have a whole area where the black people live that's abandoned. So you can't say that the money and the infrastructure are not coming here. It's where are you putting it?
The solution that I say is to take and rebuild these communities, let these people keep their land and lease it to industries. That's what I'm saying. That's one of my biggest things.
So
They'll lease it 99 years in one dark night. And then go from generation to generation each time someone wants to build a plant.
Okay.
Some big industry in.
Okay.
Type
So-
or industry or whatever. Because it's an industrial area and you'll get to see it in a bit.
So in essence, you're saying take this and make it a fully industrial area, but lease the land out to those who own the land already.
That's right.
Okay.
In Louisiana, in this entire state, in order to make things more equitable, we first need to make sure that people are getting the information. There are programs out there and money out there that people don't even know they qualify for because the information is not getting to the most marginalized and low-income communities. It's not just, sometimes there's a language barrier. Sometimes, people don't have cell phones or they don't have internet. So you're assuming because I posted this on the internet or there's a website, everybody doesn't have access to that. In particular, one small community here in Southwest Louisiana, where after the hurricane, their library was destroyed. That community used their library not only for books, but they used it for Wi-Fi and the internet and to get information, to get news articles. They no longer have that. So you can assume that if you put information out in one way that people are going to get that. So first you have to make sure that the information gets down to the people. Once those people get the information, have it accessible to them to where they can apply for it and have the things that they need to apply. Sometimes it's set up to where it's so much bureaucracy and red tape that by the time people cut through all that red tape, they no longer qualify, they've given up, they've died. It's so many things that happen in the process of getting the information and getting to the outcome of the information. So the system needs to be fixed and more just and more equitable for those folks who it was meant for, those people who are most marginalized. If we're going to continue to say that these are low income, BIPOC people, understanding that these are people who are living in poverty, the education system surrounding them is very low, then we have to understand that there are language barriers, there are barriers when it comes to reading, there's barriers when it comes to accessing information, and we just have to make it more equitable.
What are some of the ongoing challenges your community faces in terms of environmental resiliency and restoration?
I'm glad you asked me that. Listen, we're here today at Antioch Church, the Antioch Historic Church, where it was founded by 73 ex-slaves in 1866. Those slaves were dealing with resilience and restoration even then to create a new space for those 73 black slaves. They came out of a white congregation to begin a movement where they can worship in their own, had their own worship place, had their own place for Sunday school and for Bible study, and where they can come together to fellowship. And it grew over the years into what we have this building, this location. That was an idea of resilience, restoration. But now, with the turn of the century, our building is facing lots of struggle, lots of structural damage. And because of structural damage, we're not able to worship inside of our worship edifice as of now.
This building?
Well, this is the church. Next door is where we have the garden.
Okay.
And we're this area up in here. To have service. Go ahead. More gardens.
These walls are here, but up there was but right now it's intact. I'm told by a good guy. He just piece by piece it may come down.
Okay. Here's our greens.
Rain is big,
And we got the flowers. We got some okra, green peppers.
Right.
You need to come out here and do some weeding. But we got strawberries here.
Okay. What do you have here? Is that dandelions or something?
These were, I picked up a bag of just seeds, flower seeds for, to lure the insects in, butterflies,
okay,
and hummingbirds, and bees. They seem to be doing good. We plan on, we got some wood there. We're gonna build a couple more gardens.
Okay. So y'all using reclaimed wood?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. All down there. Yeah. Pastor Carol wants to do something with this land here.
Drugs, prostitution, people began to leave their homes because they could not afford the taxes. Of course, after they owned these homes, so as a result of that, these places became food deserts. They became a place where the community, where there's no longer a community. Gentrification is now setting in where people are coming back to the community, but the people that are coming back to the community don't totally look like us. It'll be a combination of those who can really live to be in this area, but at the same token, Antioch Church is here. The historic Black church, the only Black church in this, Black Baptist church in this community, is here to kind of help regain that focus to restoration. One thing that can be done is providing the resources that we need in order to build this community back up. We're in communication with places like Shreveport Green, also the Hope House, where we partner together, where we share information, and even the Black Church Food Security Network has helped us in terms of restoring this place. Getting the word out, talking about our church, talking about our community as we move forward. One of the things here I believe that we can begin to have a voice, to share our voice, to share our concerns about the needs that we have in this community, to restore our church, restore us back to the place where we were.
Well, this community has been plagued with also homelessness. We have a big homeless population in this area. So one of the things that we're hoping to do with the garden is to provide them an opportunity to, one, if there are some fresh fruits and vegetables that they can pick that don't necessarily have to be cooked. So giving them the opportunity to have something that's ready to eat, that's also good for them. We're doing that, and we're also just trying to empower them so that they can, like as Pastor said, that they can plant their own fruits and they can plant their own, but this can also be an area, since they don't have a home, that they can do the same, and they can also be a part of this work, because it's not just for the Antioch Baptist Church, it's for the community at large.
My name is Reverend Emily Carroll. I serve as the director of Green the Church National. We sit here today at St. Mark Baptist Church, which is located in DeSoto Parish. It's the same parish that I pastor in Mansfield. And when I think of community, I think of this community, DeSoto Parish. There's a large list of challenges that we do face. We are encapsulated around various industries that deal with fracking, that deal with oil. We are encapsulated around factories that deal with chicken factories and other things, paper factories, and they are our sources of income. They are our jobs. However, with these entities bring on various types of pollution, various types of things that are not always advantageous to the community that lives here. And Mansfield, which is the biggest city up the road from here, is a community that is majority African Americans, and it does have, I believe, roughly a poverty rate of around 40%. We have challenges as it relates to restoration because we lack funding. A lot of times we have solutions, a lot of times we have resolve, a lot of times we have skill set right in our backyard, but we don't always have the funding. The founder of GTC often talks about waking up the sleeping giant that is the Black church. And the Black church is a powerful entity, and we are blessed to be sitting in a Black church that's 145 years old, that continues to be a thriving part of community. The pastor here is Willie Sharon, and the community comes out to support.
We are here today at the St. Mark Cemetery in Holly, Louisiana. We have some members and family members who also have relatives and family members that are buried. This cemetery, the church, St. Mark Church, was founded in 1878 by men who had a desire to build something, who had a desire to look forward to the future. And those men and a part of the St. Mark Church, they were landowners, on acres of land. They were entrepreneurs, business owners. They were sharecroppers, but they had a mind to do the work of the Lord. And so the church was originally here. It's moved up on the highway now, and they left this space here to bury their descendants and loved ones. And so we have Civil War vets and whatnot that were buried here. We have people out here working now who volunteer their time to come out and make sure that this cemetery is intact. And that's why we're here today.
So not only do we have Reverend Bruce Carroll, but we've got Deacon Hamilton. And as I said, I want Deacon Hamilton to introduce himself. But while we're doing that, we'll get Deacon Hamilton to also kind of tell us about the graveyard and the history of it, and as well as the history of the family and whatnot as well. Dick?
Good morning, everyone. I am Hap Hamilton. I'm a deacon at St. Mark Baptist Church, and we are at the cemetery. Some say it's community cemetery, some say it's St. Mark Baptist Church cemetery. But either way, this is the cemetery, and there is work need to be done. This morning, we got some people out here of our own trying to clean so we can get in and bury our loved ones. Every family who so desire could come out whenever they get ready and clean around their own grave site. And if not, we are here to clean the whole cemetery. And we got some fallen tombstones down, but we're not responsible for picking them up or whatnot. We don't know where all the markers are. People were buried here, and they are coming in trying to find a place where they can mark their loved one. So we hope what we're doing today will benefit this whole community.
My dad right here, he passed 40 years ago. 40 years ago this month. And so he passed away, and his sister wanted to put him in the front. All the other carols on that back row that we were talking about, and these are people who have passed away since.
Certain families had certain areas, but as Jank, well, he don't come down here. But say what happened over the years, people just started coming in and just kind of putting them wherever.
So we're seeing fallen marks.
Yes.
What's happening and why are they falling?
So when they put this here, these were already, they had fallen, right? And so they put this in, so we just moved them to the side till we can find some time to deal with it. But they're in this area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's like
I'm saying
weather and time.
I have mentioned markers falling before.
Right.
What's happening? What's making the markers?
So the rain and the weather and time.
Okay.
Some of them old.
Some of them old.
But once again, the water, the wind. We worked out here last year and we came back this year after rain, wind, storm. There were markers laying on the ground.
Okay. That's what
time.
That's what I'm trying to.
I got you.
That ground soft.
that ground softer. Yes.
Keep that water settles.
That's right. That's right.
Don't have anywhere for it to run.
Don't have anywhere for it. Exactly.
And even when we look at this, if you just had, even you raised the ground up in certain areas, you can have roll-off where to keep rolling down and won't flood the grave site. But in order to do that, you need resources.
So, right, exactly. So we can bring in dirt that will help that. We can also run pipe.
Right.
That would, under the ground, that would direct water. Hey, Brother Charles. Yeah. All right, that would direct water and stuff in our cemetery. Yeah. So all this gets wet. All this gets wet and it runs this way. There's a hole here, no water today though. No water, but it's wet here. There's a hole that's normally full with water.
Okay.
Right up? I'm in the wrong place.
Somewhere.
Okay. I thought it was right there. Yeah, because I saw that hole.
Real.
You see the water, wet water.
There it is, right there. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
And instead it's raw.
There it is.
So green right here because the water, it stays with water.
Okay.
Instead of water just comes out the ground. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Because it's a natural spring.
Naturally.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, it's like he knows.
Oh yeah, it's bubbling up.
Yeah, well, my grandmother's grave right here.
Right.
You always have, as far as I can remember. I mean, it's like wet right here.
Right.
And you can see right here where the water, the minerals and stuff is coming up out of the ground.
Right.
That's that red that you see right there, the minerals coming up out of the ground.
When you say minerals,
Yeah.
the red we were talking about is different from the red that's not red. It's rust color almost.
Yeah, that's just the minerals coming up out of the ground.
Oh, okay.
if you were per se to just dig a well right here, like they would do a long time ago, right? You probably have water year round. But most of the time, it's like it's wet here year round. I mean, it could be 100 degrees out here, it's still wet.
You wouldn't have to dig so far down here.
No.
Well, you can tell it's right. I mean, I'm on it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
Yeah, you on it. Yeah, you on it.
Yeah. I would say maybe about 5 foot down in the ground, and the water probably starts gushing up.
So there has been some conversation about, put a well here, or either turn the water away where it can flood down. There's a creek in the back that there's to fish in, I guess, and swim in. But to turn it or shift it, or even put something out here that would preserve even the water here. But these are minerals. Yes, sir.
I'm thinking if you tap into it and make it a nice showpiece, you can make a reflection pond or whatever for your grave site, and then that's a tourist.
And basically, like you said, but if you tap into it, it won't be so far all out. It just be
in that place.
Yeah, withheld in one, contained in one area.
Right. So, I mean, to me, that seems like it's a simple fix. You just need resources.
Just need resources. Yes, sir.
Just need the resources. I do want to point out that whenever you lose a landmark, that's a story that is also gone away for that family member, but it connects them to a legacy in that family. Big Mama gravesite gone. That generation that y'all just talked about, that younger generation might not know who Big Mama is, but because she got a marker and somebody can point that out and remember, that's a culture. As black folk, we love our ancestors, and we hold tight to our big mamas and big daddies and their memories and whatnot. And when you look at places like this, it's indicative of our communities. It's indicative of how various floods and storms and displaces us in community, and we forget our culture. Each time something happens, it takes away a piece of that.
My name is Pastor Michael Faget. I am the senior pastor here at the St. Rest Baptist Church in Shreveport, Louisiana. We're living in a food desert here in the Allendale community. There is not a grocery store or really a serviceable food market within a 5-mile radius, which impacts our environment, impacts our culture, impacts our community. And so our church has tried to make efforts to make sure we do something to help bring life and bring food to the food desert we have here.
My name is Deborah Bradley, and I'm a member of St. Rest Baptist Church. If you look at this community, there's a lot of poverty in this community, of food shortages. There's no place here where they can grocery shop or either buy food if there is hunger. I would think that if we could get some stores here that can maybe have food at low price, discount food, to where they can serve themselves instead of most people over here that you see on the streets here. I see them when I pass through. They're catching the bus, going out of the neighborhoods to shop. And if you're buying a large amount of groceries, catching the bus is not ideal. So we can have something in this community where they can shop and then just walk to their homes and take it to their homes. That's one of the biggest problems I see.
My name is Charles Washington, and I'm an activist of the community. I've been gone 28 years in Louisiana State Penitentiary.
Okay.
I've only been home 2 years. I've been hearing some of the questions you was asking. Man, they've been a tremendous blessing to the community. It's like, if you want some rehabilitation to people that are trying to change them lives, change themselves, then therefore you have to give back to the community. These people are giving back too. I'm homeless, you got several more people that are homeless. But at the same time, we don't look at it as being homeless. We look at it as God showing us a way to change. The only way that you can change is you got to accept change. Amen. And that's just what they're doing. They're showing us that God is good to all of us if we just allow them to give them an opportunity to do so.
My name is Cynthia Cason, and I represent St. Rest Baptist Church, and I'm over the youth also here at the church. Back in 2019, our outreach ministry was having a meeting, and we were trying to decide what we were going to do that year to reach out to the community. Because before, we've been going door to door, talking to the folks like that. And we wanted to do something more. We said we needed to get out of this church, get outside these walls, and touch the community in a way that we haven't done before. And so the idea came up for a garden. And the garden really is just a catalyst. You know, it's not all about the garden. Since we've done the garden, so much has happened since then. I mean, we've adopted a family across the street because the little kids would come over when they would see us out here working. Some days I'll be out here by myself in the evenings working, and they'll come over and they'll talk to me, and, you know, we discuss different things. And so we've built a relationship, and that's what we were looking for, ways to engage the community in a way that ordinarily, you know, if we're just coming into the church every Sunday and leaving, that's not good. You know, God brought us here to be each other's helpers. And each one of us, in our own special way, has a way of touching somebody. Mm-hmm. You look around this community, you see a lot of poverty, you see a lot of abandoned homes, and people, a lot of times when you see that, they're hopeless. And so we want to be a way to give hope to people in any way that we can.
A lot of times we try to equate effectiveness with numbers, saying we have to reach a certain amount of things or get a certain amount of people or have a certain amount of something. But if we simply would just start and do what we can, I believe that God will bless our efforts and multiply it if we simply put our faith to feet, get on the ground and do the work and start somewhere. If everybody just had the mind to work, I believe that that will really make an impact on how we can see improvements in our environment and culture.
I'm going to throw you a fast one right here.
Okay.
How can we ensure that people are in the mindset to work? How can you put that to the people? Spread that message.
That is a good question. Realize that the work they do impacts where they live. A lot of times people don't want to work because it does not affect them. In most cases, our churches are not connected to our communities because our membership doesn't live in our communities. So if it doesn't affect them, they won't feel the need to work. But when they realize the work they do impacts them, they would get in the mindset to say, this is not just an issue that my church faces. This is an issue I face. Let me get to work so we can see change in our community.
My name is Reverend Sonia Lars. I am the pastor here at Newman United Methodist Church in Alexandria, Louisiana. I've been here for a year now, and I'm still trying to figure out some of the things that are going on in this area. As far as our state goes, we feel like we're always bouncing back from storms. We have a lot of plants in our state as well, which also gives us reasons to be concerned about our waterways. I was trying to find a nice way to put that. The chemical plants get to release things into our water, and we don't always know what those are. I grew up in Shreveport. I attended college in Baton Rouge. And so as we would make that 4-hour drive from Shreveport to Baton Rouge, we would get to certain parts of the state and we'd go, oh, that's the linseed oil factory. So you could tell where the factories were by the odors in the air. And when you got to Baton Rouge, which is very heavily populated with plants, chemical plants along the Mississippi River, when you cross from West Baton Rouge Parish into East Baton Rouge Parish, I always forget the name of the bridge. It's normally kind of a reddish color because of the chemicals in the air. They have to keep painting it over and over again, and it oxidizes. But as you pass over the Mississippi River, the smells from the chemical plants, I would always think, I'm back at Southern University, which is horrible. It's a horrible way to identify our state capital by the odors that you smell in different parts of the city. And then that's the other thing, where those plants are, they're mostly Black residents. So Southern's campus is on the north end of town, at the bend of the river. And then when you pass Southern University's campus, Exxon, it's just plant after plant after plant until you get to downtown. And so both sides of the river, you have it more heavily populated by people of color trying to live in those areas where those plants are. We do need the jobs, but I would really like to have clean air and clean water as well. It needs to be a balance on that as well. I'm recognizing that there are more people like me who are too stubborn to give up. And instead of sitting by the wayside and waiting for somebody else to fix our issues, we're getting involved and trying to figure out ways to make things happen ourselves. We're asking more questions, and we're not just allowing other people to dictate to us what should happen in the areas around us, within our state, within our cities, and we need to do that more throughout our country as well.
We are aware of our impact on our community. So if we're using solar power to power our campus, it's a great way for us not just to lower our costs, but to lower our carbon footprint in the area. And so I think when the church leads by example, it's a lot more effective than us just preaching a sermon. I can talk all day, but if you see the actions I'm taking, it makes a much bigger impact. But I think all of our buildings need to have the ability, if there is a emergency situation, for folks to be able to take a shower when we don't have that capability. I think everything was a little scaled down when things were built.
Okay. For the kitchen.
Yeah, so it's not a commercial grade kitchen. It's a warming kitchen. And I get tickled every time we're telling somebody you have the opportunity to rent our space, and they focus on it's a warming. I'm like, it's an insurance thing. Yeah, but that's okay. It's a big enough space for you to come in and do whatever it is you need to do. What's interesting, we were actually approached by 3 different entities about solar power. One of those groups was only interested in putting the solar panels on our Family Life Center. And so that we would have the ability to be a lighthouse in the community when all of these storms and things that we have come through. So we would be a place where folks could come and charge their phones, charge their medical equipment, a place they could come and cool off, because it's Louisiana, it's always hot and muggy here. But we wanted to be able to do more than just that one building. And so Green the Church has given us the ability to do our Family Life Center, as well as our sanctuary and our administrative buildings. So that's going to help us, as I said earlier, to reduce our carbon footprint, and it'll give us another way to show our community that we care about the way our country is being run.
I have been fortunate. I grew up in Shreveport, Louisiana. My family is mostly in Bossier Parish. In Bossier Parish, it was more rural when I was growing up, and so it would be nothing for us to stay outside all day. Outhouses, and then there were wells. So when I say outside all day, we were outside all day. Fruit trees on the property to eat from, but I'm hesitant to do anything like that now because our water supplies are just not, I just don't feel they're as safe as they used to be. I look at my nieces and nephews and realize that they're missing out on so much that we had. The natural resources of the state. I know a lot of people who love to fish, but you gotta be careful where you fish because there might be some issues with the water. The areas that have never flooded before are flooding now because we are building in areas that we don't need to be building in. We're taking away too much of the natural habitat, and then when the alligators come across our property, we're wanting them removed. So we really have to think more about the decisions we make and how it impacts the world that we live in.